Welcome to the News Drive on Skyline. I am Mohammed Musa. Ocean State voters are today deciding who will govern the state for the next 4 years in a closely watched governorship election featuring 15 candidates. The contest has largely centered on incumbent Governor Ademola Adeleke, APC candidate Bola Oyebamiji, and ADC candidate Natus across the state. With about 1.9 million registered voters expected to participate, attention is focused on voters' turnout, the conduct of the exercise, and the ability of the leading candidates to translate their campaign support into votes. The election is also attracting national attention because of the potential political implication ahead of the 2027 general elections. President Bola Tinubu has called on political parties, candidates, and their supporters to ensure that the Ocean governorship election is conducted peacefully. The president urged all stakeholders to put the interests of the people above political differences and to respect the outcome of the electoral process. Tinubu also charged the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) and security agencies with ensuring the voters can cast their ballots without intimidation or interference. The president stressed the importance of protecting election officials, electoral materials, and citizens throughout the exercise. The call comes as attention remains focused on Osun State, where the outcome of the selection could influence political calculations ahead of the 2027 general elections. Security has been tightened across Osun State as voters turn out for the governorship election. Security operatives have been deployed to major towns and polling locations, including Oshobo, Ede, Ilesha, and other parts of the state, as authorities work to maintain order throughout with the voting process. The heightened security presence comes amid concerns over possible disruption, political clashes, and other challenges that could affect the peaceful conduct of the election. Voters are expected to cast their ballot under the watch of security personnel and election officials, while political parties have been urged to respect the process and allow voters to freely exercise their rights. The election is being closely monitored as an important test of Nigeria's electoral process ahead of the 2027 general election. Afrobeat superstar Davido is attracting renewed attention as Osun State goes to the polls, with the singer's connection to the state political establishment once again becoming a talking point. Davido, whose real name is David Adeleke, is the nephew of the governor Ademola Adeleke and has been maintained a close relationship with the governor and members of the Adeleke family. His popularity among young Nigerians has also fueled discussions about the possible influence of celebrities in politics, particularly during elections where youth participation is considered crucial. Former Kogi West Senator Dino Melai has accused three former People's Democratic Party officials of undermining the party and allegedly working in the interests of President Bola Tinubu. Melai, in his criticism of the former party officials, blamed their actions for contributing to the internal crisis currently facing the PDP. He alleged that the party's leadership problems and political disagreements have weakened its ability to mount an effective opposition ahead of the 2027 general elections. FCT Minister Nyesom Wike says President Bola Tinubu will be a difficult candidate to defeat in Abuja while Nigerians are head to the polls in 2027. Wike, who has remained one of the president's prominent political supporters, continues to defend the administration's policy and record in office. The former Rivers State governor has also maintained that political support for Tinubu is growing as the country moves closer to the next general election. More stories after the break. Please do stay with us.
Watch Skyline News on MyComSat and Free TV. Stay connected wherever you are by streaming us live on the Free TV app available for both iOS and Android devices via the App Store and Google Play. Follow us on all our social media platforms at Skyline TV News for breaking news, updates, and exclusive content. For more information, visit www.skylinetv.ng. Skyline News.
Staying with us on the news. Now we move to the security stories. 4 soldiers are feared dead following an attack by suspected bandits on Kebe town in Sokoto State. The attackers reportedly targeted the community, triggering a confrontation with security personnel deployed to the area. The incident has raised fresh concerns over the security situation in parts of the northwest, where bandit attacks and other forms of criminality continue to threaten communities. Security agencies are expected to intensify operations in the affected area as efforts continue to track down those responsible for the attack. The Enugu State Police Command says 2 additional suspects have been arrested in connection with the kidnapping of worshippers linked to the Afa Church incident. The latest arrests form part of an ongoing investigation into the abduction and the activities of criminal network allegedly behind the incident. Police authorities say investigations are continuing as operatives work to establish the full circumstances surrounding the kidnapping. The development is expected to assist investigators in identifying other individuals who may have been involved in the operation. The Transmission Company of Nigeria has raised the alarm over the destruction of electricity transmission towers in Akwa Ibom State. The vandalization of the infrastructure has raised concerns over the safety of the national electricity grid and the possible impact on power transmission in the affected area. The incident is in the latest in a series of attacks and acts of vandalism targeting critical electricity infrastructure across the country. Authorities have continued to warn against the destruction of transmission facilities, stressing that such attacks can disrupt electricity supply and cause significant economic losses. On to business, the Naira has strengthened amid recent developments by the Central Bank of Nigeria, affecting foreign exchange and securities operations. The movement comes as the CBN continues to implement reforms aimed at improving transparency and stability in the financial markets. Market participants are closely watching the latest policy measures, with investors assessing their potential impact on foreign exchange liquidity and the wider economy. The developments have also renewed discussions about the outlook for the Naira and the country's financial markets. Nigeria's equity market has continued the downward trend, with market capitalization reportedly losing about 3.8 trillion naira. The latest decline extends the market sell-off to a 5th consecutive trading session as investors continue to offload shares. Analysts are watching the development closely, particularly as investors respond to changing market conditions, interest rate, and economic indicators. The sustained decline has increased concerns over market-sensitive sentiment and the short-term outlook for Nigerian equities. Investors have reportedly submitted bids worth about 4.93 trillion naira in a recent Central Bank Nigeria open market operation auction. The strong demand highlights continued investor appetite for naira-dominated securities, offering attractive yields. The OMO market remains an important tool used by the CBN to manage liquidity within the financial system and influence monetary conditions. The high level of investor interest also reflects the continued importance of government and central bank securities in Nigeria's investment market. More stories after the break. Please do stay with us.
Watch Skyline News on MyComsat and Free TV. Stay connected wherever you are by streaming us live on the Free TV app available for both iOS and Android devices via the App Store and Google Play. Follow us on all our social media platforms at Skyline TV News for breaking news, updates, and exclusive content. For more information, visit www.skylinetv.ng. Skyline News, beyond the headlines.
You can watch Skyline News on Nightcomsat and Free TV. Stay connected wherever you are by streaming us live on the Free TV app, available for both iOS and Android devices via the App Store and Google Play. Follow us on all our social media platforms at Skyline TV News for breaking news, updates, and exclusive content. For more information, visit www.skylinetv.ng. Skyline News, beyond the headlines.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us on the news. On to entertainment, Nollywood filmmaker and actress Funke Akindele has unveiled the cast of her upcoming movie, The Fall. The project features a star-dotted lineup of Nigerian actors and is expected to be one of the major Nollywood releases generating attention ahead of the cinema debut. The film is scheduled for a December 2026 release, with fans already looking forward to seeing the different talent brought together for the project. The announcement further adds to Akindele's growing list of major productions in Nigeria's competitive film industry. Nigerian music stars, including Ayastar, Kunmi, and Bella Shamuda, are among the artists generating attention with fresh music releases. The new projects are adding momentum to an already busy period for Nigeria's Afrobeats and contemporary music scene. Fans have taken to streaming platforms and social media to react to the latest songs, with artists competing for attention on playlists and music charts. The steady flow of new releases continues to demonstrate the strengths of Nigeria's music industry, both locally and internationally. Now onto the foreign scenes, US President Donald Trump continues to apply pressure on Iran as efforts to resolve the standoff over the Strait of Hormuz remain uncertain. Washington is demanding compensation over the disruption surrounding the strategic waterway, while Tehran has presented its own conditions for reopening the passage. The Strait of Hormuz is one of the world's most important energy routes, with large volumes of crude oil and other energy products passing through it. The continuing disagreement has raised concerns over global energy supplies and the possible impact of international oil prices if tensions escalate further. On to Ukraine, Ukraine says its forces have carried out strikes on the Russian oil facility and a military airfield as fighting between the two countries continues. Ukrainian authorities say the attacks targeted strategic infrastructure linked to Russia's military and energy capabilities. The reported strike come amid continued exchanges of attacks between Moscow and Kiev, with both sides targeting military and strategic facilities. President Volodymyr Zelensky has reportedly called for stronger international support as Ukraine seeks to maintain pressure on Russian forces and protect its territory. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has rejected a US-backed 15-point grace proposal aimed at ending the conflict in Gaza. Netanyahu insists that Hamas must be completely disarmed before Israel can agree to the withdrawal of its forces from the territory. The rejection adds another obstacle to international efforts to secure a lasting ceasefire and establish a political settlement in Gaza. The United States continues to push for a negotiated solution, while the humanitarian situation in Gaza remains a major concern for the international community. Chinese authorities have ordered large-scale evacuations as Typhoon Dolphin approaches vulnerable coastal communities. Residents in areas considered to be at risk are being moved to safer locations as authorities prepare for strong winds, heavy rainfall, and possible flooding. Emergency teams have been placed on alert, while transportation and other public services face possible disruption depending on the storm's path. Officials have urged residents to follow evacuation instructions and avoid unnecessary travel as preparations continue for the potentially dangerous weather condition. Thank you for watching the news on Skyline TV. I am Muhammad Musa.
You can watch Skyline News on Nightcomsat and Free TV. Stay connected.